What's up, YouTube? I'm out here with my 1979 Ford F-150 again, and today I'm going to change this socket. It is literally a brand new socket, but for some reason when we went to snap it into the housing for the turn signal, the whole thing broke. Like, broke clear apart. I don't know, but I have a new one from Dorman, and I'm going to change it out today. So let's get started. Alright guys, these are some wire strippers, Cobalt brand I got from Lowe's. They have the crimper there for insulated and for the non-insulated ones. It's got a nice wire cutter there. It goes from 24 gauge all the way up to 10 gauge. They're pretty decent. I mean, you could probably buy some better ones, better name brand, but these actually work out pretty decent. I really enjoy them. So that's what we're going to be using today. I'll have to link in the right here how much it costs, but they came from Lowe's, so let's get started. All right, so there's only 3 wires here, but it's in my opinion, it's a good idea to do them 1 wire at a time, just so you don't get them mixed up, because 90% of the time your plug, like for example, this one is red, white, and black. Well, coming out of the truck, we have white with a blue stripe, brown, and a black. Well, when you cut them off, you might think, oh, well, the white one goes to the white one, and then, you know, maybe the brown one goes to the black, but that's just not how it is. So in my opinion, it's easier to just go ahead and cut them off one at a time, strip them, and put them back on where they go, and it just saves you the headache later on. But these already have crimps on the end of them, which is kind of convenient. It's made in Taiwan. I don't really expect a whole lot out of it, but I also didn't pay that much for it. So let's go ahead and get started and start cutting these off and strip them back and go ahead and crimp them on one at a time. And then I'll put the bulb back in there, and we'll turn the turn signal on, the park light and all that, and make sure everything's working properly before I put the housing back on, and this project will be done. All right, so I've already done the red one, so now we're going to go ahead and go to the middle one here and use our cutters. Snip. So there went the white one. You just get your stripper here. I'm not sure what gauge it is, but I'm gonna go with 16 to 18 and take off, I don't know, about a ½ inch or so. That's all it takes, just a little snippet right there. And then you get your new white wire and you slip it over top of that one, like that. And then these crimpers are color coded. There's a spot there for a blue and a yellow and a red, and that's where you want to crimp it. So you just kind of reach it around like that, get it in the right slot, make sure the wire's all the way in. I usually do one towards the end, skip a little bit, get a little bit closer to the middle, and do another little crimp like that. And I always like to give it just a little gentle tug, make sure it's not going to come out of there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do this last one. All right, we got all of these spliced back together. I didn't tape them up or anything yet. But I just wanted to make a little note here. This is what they call an 1157 bulb, which I'm not sure what the numbers mean, but it's a 2 filament. Some of your bulbs only have 1, where this one has 2. One, in this case, is for park light, and the other one is for your turn signal. These little lugs are slightly offset. This one's closer to the bottom, and this one's farther up to the top. So this bulb only goes in one way. You should be able to shove it in and just like a quarter turn, and it'll lock in. So you just got to be careful. You don't want to force it in or anything like that. And a lot of times it's hard to see, but you can tell that this one right here is deeper than that one is. So the one that's closer to the bottom goes down this groove right here. And you shove it in and turn it like a little bit of 1/8 of a turn, and now it's locked in. You probably shouldn't touch these bulbs with your oily fingers, but I already did, so I'm not really that worried about it. Wipe the goo off there with your shirt or whatever. They're cheap anyway, it's not that big of a deal. But I got that changed out, so now I'm going to go flip the switch and see what it does. All right, I got the park light switch turned on. It's kind of hard to see in the daylight, but it is burning. So that's good. That's a good sign. So now I'm gonna go up there and go ahead and turn on the turn signal and make sure that it works before we button this back up. All right, guys, we got the turn signal switch on and it is flashing. So that's awesome. Like I said, there's only 3 wires, so not that big of a deal, but it is very easy to get confused sometimes, especially if you go through and you cut all 3 of them off at the same time. So now I'm gonna put this loom back on there, button it up real nice and neat, and then I'll go ahead and put the housing back on, and that will complete this project. All right, I got that all buttoned up, got some tape on it along the loom. Keep it kind of protected in there so it don't rub on anything sharp or anything like that. Now, keep in mind, this isn't the only way you can do this. You can do solder connections, you can do the same connectors that I used, then put heat shrink over top of them to keep them protected from the weather, things like that. But this is just what works for me, and that's what we're going to do on this little project. So I just got to button this light in and go ahead and put it in the housing, and that will be it. So now we're all set up front here. All right, well, that was a fun little project. Anyway, I'll see you guys on the next one.